Good afternoon mga katribu, I am Komfie Manalo and welcome to another episode of Kalingang Katribu Usapang Business. Joining me today is of course my co-editor Teddy Montelibano. Teddy?
Hello. Today we are joined by Mr. Scott Moore. He's the managing director of Henley and Partners.
Good afternoon Teddy and Scott. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking your time to be with us in the studio.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay, Scott. Mr. Moore.
Mr.
Okay,
Moore.
maybe if you can just give a little introduction as to what Henley and Partners is all about.
Certainly. So Henley and Partners is the global leaders in investment migration. The firm has been around for over 25 years. We have around 40 offices around the world and over 300 staff. So anywhere where there's a program that's important for our clients, we have an office on the ground that liaises directly with the government to represent our clients. We focus on residence and citizenship by investment. So we're not doing retirement visas, student visas, we're not doing tourist visas. We're focusing on the high net worth segment for people that want to obtain a second status, whether it's a residence or a citizenship, but they don't want to leave the Philippines because this is where their business is, this is where their family is. So any country that has a program that we deem as safe for our clients for this type of investment, we can offer. So myself and my team, we're experts in over 30 countries that offer residence or citizenship programs.
When did this migration investment trend started, and where did it start?
Yeah, great question. Actually, this has been going on for really centuries. If you look back even to the Roman times, if you had something to offer to the empire, they would make you a citizen. But if we're looking forward now more in modern times, the Philippines is really one of the most developed markets for our industry in Southeast Asia because during martial law, many families wanted to have safe passage out. They wanted to leave. A lot of them came back. Now, back then, it was mostly the US and Canada that they considered. Now, there's several more opportunities where you don't actually have to leave the country. You can stay in the Philippines and in some cases get an immediate passport through an investment.
Great, yeah. Okay, where do Filipinos at the present time, now, today, where do Filipinos like to, your Filipino clients, where do they want to invest?
Yeah. So the most popular program currently is the Portugal residence by investment visa. The reason that this is popular is, first of all, it's relatively affordable compared to other programs. The investment starts as low as €280,000, and this is recoverable. You will get this money back after you get your passport. It's around 16 million pesos.
60 million.
Okay. Then Portugal is a residence by investment program, so you still have to naturalize to obtain the passport. But usually when we think about naturalization, we think that you need to move to the country. You need to live there full time.
Yeah.
Portugal, you need to spend effectively 7 days per year for
Okay.
5 years. Okay,
For
so
5 years.
It's a very
Okay.
palatable amount of time to spend. So you shift your family vacations to Portugal.
Yeah.
You can stay in the Philippines, run the business, be with your family. And that, along with passing a basic language exam, you can apply for citizenship, and then the family will become European. A European passport is a very strong passport to hold because it gives you settlement freedom in all 27 European Union countries.
Schengen.
Right, and it gives you very good mobility, visa-free access to the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Japan.
So if you have, say, if you have obtained already the passport, say in Portugal or in any other countries that you offer, what other benefits do they enjoy aside from of course, enjoying the benefits of having a Portugal passport or a Canadian passport, or if they sell in the U.S. An American passport? So do they enjoy the full benefit of a citizen?
Natural citizen, yeah.
Yes, so That's a good point to bring up because there is a difference between residence and citizenship. So we offer both residence by investment programs and citizenship by investment programs. Now,
Which countries, hold on, which countries offer citizenship?
so with citizenship by investment, they're categorized into Commonwealth Caribbean countries. Okay, there's Eastern European countries.
Okay.
And there is one fast track program in the European Union where the qualified individual can naturalize within just a 12-month period and
Sure.
become a European citizen. This is in Malta.
Oh, Malta.
Okay. The Caribbean options, these are Commonwealth countries, so they have very strong passports, visa-free access to the United Kingdom, to the Schengen. These are in Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia. Now, for a
Caribbean,
single applicant, the contribution starts at $100,000 to obtain one of these passports. So it's very affordable. And once you have the passport, of course, that gives you security regardless of the domestic situation in the Philippines. You can leave because you're a national of another country. It will open doors for your children in terms of making sure they have better mobility to travel. It could open educational opportunities for them. And if it's a passport, it's a succession investment, so it will be passed down to future generations of your family.
So you were mentioning, you were discussing earlier the difference between a resident and a citizen. So can you expound on that more?
Yeah. Now, moving towards residents, we've gone over citizenship. So residents generally would have some conditions attached to it.
Residency,
Okay. If it's a residence by investment program, usually you're going to need to keep an investment, the qualifying investment in the country to maintain your residence. Oftentimes, you also need to spend a certain amount of time. Okay, if we're looking at Portugal, it's a very small amount of time, just 7 days per year. But if we're looking at Canada, where I'm from, okay, if you have residence in Canada, you need to stay 2 out of 5 years to maintain the status. Now, if you're running a business in the Philippines, that is very difficult to do.
2 years continuous.
2 out of 5.
I
Cumulative.
mean continuous. You stay
Cumulative.
cumulative.
Yes.
You don't sound Canadian, except of course when you said auto.
You got me there.
Yeah.
You might catch me
That
saying
gave you there.
A
That
too.
gave
There
your.
you go. Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, yeah. So Canada is 2 years cumulative out of 5. Okay.
That's right, and that is assuming that you have the right to settle there. Now, by volume, actually, Filipinos are the most migrants we have in Canada.
In Canada.
And this is fantastic because they integrate into our communities. They reinvigorate small towns. They fill the churches. These are really the type of immigrants that we want to have in Canada. But the mass migration to Canada is at the skilled level, so not necessarily the high net worth. Now, there is residence by investment programs in Canada as well, where wealthy individuals can invest, they can start a business. This is a federal startup visa, and then they can obtain residence in Canada in about 1.5 years, permanent residence.
Okay, Mr. Moore, how does one get into your program? What are the requirements?
So,
Aside from having money.
Yeah,
Right.
aside from
Right.
from having a lot of money. Can
Right. Well,
anybody
I
just
mean,
yeah, okay.
say having a lot of money, I mean the programs really vary, starting at $100,000 and going up to several million. So there's something that fits mini budgets. Now, the most important thing is that you have a clean background, clean source of funds. Okay, so we
No case. I mean, no.
right. We
You'll be
very
convicted of a
thoroughly
case, yeah.
right. We very thoroughly vet anyone prior to onboarding. Obviously, we design these programs for governments around the world as well. We need to protect our reputation, be careful who we represent.
Yes.
So that's one side of the equation. On the other side of the equation, you will not be approved for these programs if you have any case,
Yeah.
any conviction, if you cannot prove your source of funds. So for us, we wouldn't want to engage in a business transaction where we wouldn't be successful on the client's behalf. And that's why we have a 100% success rate for our clients in the Philippines.
Yeah, I'm just curious because you mentioned that the Philippines is a mature market regarding this industry, and that there's a lot of migrant investors from the Philippines. So, is it safe to say that most of the rich families here are already enrolled in that program?
Well, I think we can think of your families, your relatives, for example. Most families would have perhaps a relative that's Canadian, American, maybe Spanish. They're already either living in these countries or they have dual passports and they're living in the Philippines. So it doesn't mean that you are a high net worth individual if you have multiple passports or multiple residences. There's many different ways to obtain these statuses. The segment that we're focusing on are the ones that, hey, perhaps their relatives already have another residence or citizenship. They
Yes,
don't. Maybe they
okay.
feel left out. Because they have been successful in business, perhaps they're an executive, they have spare liquidity where they can invest to obtain this status, not only for themselves, but for future generations.
So those Filipinos who enrolled in this program, and of course, like you said, they also enjoy the same benefits of residents or citizens if they opt to that for that kind of program. So, do you have clients who have actually started or engaged in business in the countries that they've chosen?
Absolutely. That is the hope for countries that are offering these programs. So, in the short term, they receive the benefit of the qualifying investment of the client. Okay? In the long term, there are going to be some clients, Filipino or from elsewhere, that start spending more and more time in the country. They really fall in love with it, and then the country can capture more investment for either business or, hey, just if they're living there, it's a net benefit because they're spending money in the economy.
And maybe because some of those clients of yours enrolled in that program basically to invest in the countries that they choose, right? And then
Right.
just to have a backup plan in case something happened here.
Right. I mean, again, if you have a second passport, regardless of the domestic situation, you can always leave. Okay. And if you have a second residence, you have something already set up. Maybe you've bought a piece of real estate to qualify for this program. So
Okay.
you would already have a second home overseas. If something goes wrong domestically, then you can always relocate, whether it be permanently or temporarily.
Mr. Moore, if you let's say if you enroll or apply for this program by citizenship, okay, what happens to your Philippine pass or your Philippine passport or your Filipino citizenship?
Right.
Do you get to retain it?
So the Philippines, as long as you're a natural born Filipino, allows you to hold multiple nationalities.
Okay, so
Okay.
you can be dual. No?
Right. So when you get your second citizenship, you declare to the government, you apply for reacquisition of your Philippine citizenship. It's a simple process, and then they will process for you, and you'll have dual passport.
So no problem.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, it's great. Yeah. So this, I guess, okay. Other than Portugal, where do Filipinos want to go, or you know?
So Spain also has a popular residence by investment program.
And you have to know the language. Is that a requirement?
If you want to naturalize and obtain the citizenship, there is a language exam, just like Portugal. Portugal and Spain, they have a language exam if you want to obtain the passport. But a lot of individuals are just more interested to have a second home in Spain.
Yeah.
So they invest €500,000 into a property and they use this residence card to have visa-free access to the Schengen and to stay indefinitely in Spain if they want. Now, if they want to obtain Spanish citizenship, and here's where you can notice a distinct difference between Portugal and Spain, okay? And Filipinos have an accelerated pathway towards citizenship in Spain, given that you're a former colony. You need to live there more than 183 days
Straight?
cumulative
Yeah, cumulative.
every year
Yeah,
for
okay.
2 years.
In Spain.
Yeah.
And you can never be outside. This is an important one. You can never be outside for more than 3 months at any single time. So it's not like you can live in Spain January to June and spend the rest of the time in the Philippines. No, you have to be in and out. But it is a very quick process, just 2 years. You pass a basic Spanish language exam, you can apply for the passport. So what we saw, especially during the pandemic, is a lot of families that had, let's say, the luxury of time, the liquidity to relocate. We would see perhaps mom and the kids, they would move to Spain. They go there for a while for school. They'll come back in 2 to 3 years' time. The family will be Spanish. And this is a status that can be passed down to future unborn generations.
You know, I've noticed even among members of my family, of late there have been a lot of. I mean, I don't know if they've heard about your program, but a lot of Filipinos are really going to Spain.
Yeah.
Even my family, I
Even
have,
my
I have
family,
family
yeah,
members
they
who
just
are in
go to
Singapore.
Spain,
Yep.
Filipinos are going to Spain. So I don't know what.
Yeah,
well, I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
because there's a link between the Philippines and Spain.
And the culture, the food, and
Yeah,
the
culture
language.
as well, yeah.
Natural affinity.
Yeah. And then before we delve more into that, the question of Teddy, we will pause for a short break.
Okay.
So stay tuned, mga Katsibu. We will be right back.
Iba ng panahon, dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ano bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy it sa centers, pati sa mga parties, may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayad.
And we're back, and you're still watching Usapang Business, and I'm still with Teddy Montelibano, and of course, our guest, Mr. Scott Moore of Henley and Partners. Before we took a break, we were discussing about the Filipinos migrating overseas for investment, local for their fallback position in case something happened here. But now, let us discuss about about the opportunities the Philippines is offering for foreign migrants.
Like,
So is there an interest among these foreign migrants to migrate to the Philippines, invest or retire here?
Absolutely. We can look at this from retirement potential. We can look at this from investment
Investment
potential.
okay.
The expected growth in Southeast Asia, in the Philippines, is significantly higher than it is in the West.
Yeah.
There's always going to be investors that are looking for ways to cut through all the red tape. They're willing to pay extra to have the right to stay longer than a tourist visa would allow them to stay. They want to have the right to, give proper advice if they're doing business here. Perhaps that's not correct on a tourist visa. So if they can pay to get it easily, there's certainly demand. And the same goes for wealthy retirees. When a lot of people in the West are thinking about retiring in the Philippines, I think the standpoint is perhaps we're thinking of pensioners. But really, there's a huge growth in high net worth individuals that are looking at the Philippines for both investment and just for quality of life. This is a beautiful place to stay.
You were saying earlier, Mr. Moore, you were saying that the West seems to be more attractive or very attractive, very keen towards going to Thailand, both as a retirement destination and an investment destination?
Yes. So, Henley and Partners, one of our strengths is we advise governments on how to create either residence or citizenship by investment programs to attract wealthy individuals. This is something that we did in Thailand with their Thai Elite Residence Visa, and it has been hugely successful. One of the main reasons that it's successful is because it is very straightforward. As long as the individual complies with the requirements of the visa, they have a clean background, approval comes in less than a month, the visa will be attached to their passport the first time they land in Thailand, right at the airport.
Yeah.
Now, if Thailand has something like that is so popular, the Philippines, of course, would have demand for something like that. And this is something that would have a huge benefit for the Filipino people. President Marcos has recently proposed a sovereign wealth fund. This is something that we can have foreigners invest in. They can even donate to this fund to have a fast track and easy route towards residence in the Philippines. And this is how other programs around the world are designed. And this is, our specialty, to put in place the checks and balances, the proper due diligence system to ensure that you're getting the right type of individuals. And, this is interest-free money that is going straight to the Sovereign Wealth Fund and will hugely benefit the Filipino people.
Do you have a kind of engagement with the Philippine government? Are you advising our government regarding this kind of program?
We are engaging the government on some levels of discussion. Of course, it is a work in progress.
But that is really worthwhile. I mean, to discuss with the Philippine government which office would at this point in time is it's not. We have the Senate to contend with.
Or the Bureau of
The
Immigration?
software, the bill will have to be passed by the Senate. Okay.
There are.
But maybe you can be invited to the hearing in the Senate.
Or you can probably go to the Bureau of Immigration and advise them, because they have this special investors visa that
No,
is
I
still
mean,
very
I'm
safe.
talking about the sovereign wealth
Yeah,
fund.
sovereign wealth fund. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is an investor visa right now under the Bureau of Investments. Whether this could be a work-in with them.
Board of
One
Investments,
thing
yeah.
is certain, we need to make this as easy as possible
Yeah,
for the
painless
individual
as
that is
possible,
going
yeah.
to
Yeah.
invest. News travels fast. If this is a painless process,
Yes,
people will buy. Absolutely.
will be attracted. So other than Thailand, is there any other place in Asia where, where you have a program designed for
So
invest?
we have an office in Malaysia. They have Malaysia My Second Home program. Of course, our regional head office is in Singapore. Singapore has the global investor visa, which for
Global Investors Visa, okay.
qualified individuals can lead to an immediate permanent residence. But the bar in Singapore is very high, to say the least. You need to be from a significant family business or have a significant amount to invest to qualify for that visa.
Yeah.
Thailand, Malaysia, potentially the Philippines, they offer lower cost of living. I'd say there's less barrier to entry to start a business that could really be a game changer. Singapore is established already as
Southeast,
Southeast Asia's
true, yeah.
wealth capital.
Yes, right.
And of course, the cost of living there is significantly higher. So
correct,
it's a much different offering.
So there's a data from the Philippine government that most foreign retirees choose say Bacolod City, Bacolod, Negros,
Yeah, Negros.
and La Union to retire and
Dumaguete
invest. So
also.
in your case, do you where does your client prefer to retire, sir, or to invest in the Philippines under this kind of program? Or what investment opportunities are they looking at?
So there are several ways that we could look at the design of a residence by investment program in the Philippines. If we're looking at a donation to the Sovereign Wealth Fund, then this doesn't geographically restrict the settlement of the investor whatsoever. There are other countries that decide to design their programs around this is a specific area in the country that we want investment and development. We are going to sell properties in this area to qualified foreigners, and they will get a residence visa along with the property that they buy. So when we're looking at specific areas in the Philippines, perhaps there is an incentive the government could create. They could have more than one choice. You can choose to donate to the Sovereign Wealth Fund, or you can choose to invest in a very specific area that they want to develop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think I'm very much interested in the sovereign wealth fund route. I think
Yeah, I
that's
think-
would be better because they're looking for funding there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and,
Yes.
and that this investment for residency, I think is a good vehicle to launch or to raise
You
funds.
want to
for
raise
that.
funds for it. Instead of tapping GSIS or the pension funds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You get from the investors. Yeah. Okay. Other than the usual would be. Are there no Filipinos, or is the U.S. part of the countries that?
Yes.
Okay.
The United States has a residence by investment program called the EB-5 program. The investment is quite a bit higher when we're looking at these
How much is
grade A countries like US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK. The investment is significantly higher, and you need to move to the country
Oh,
after you invest.
stay
so
there for continuously for a while.
Yes,
For a period of
you
time.
need to naturalize just like anybody else. So the U.S. the investment is $800,000 US dollars into a regional center, and they're responsible for the reporting of these funds to the government. They create 10 jobs on your behalf, and you'll be given a conditional green card within 2.5 to 3 years. So the clients that are going for this program, generally they're sending their kids to college in the U.S. They want to give their children access to gain work experience in the U.S.
see.
after
Okay. Yes.
they graduate. So children can be dependents on their parents under the age of 21. They're all included in the application. they're going to naturalize while going to school anyways.
Okay,
So
that's
it's a
great.
very convenient route.
Are there any politicians or rich or popular celebrities in the Philippines that have enrolled or into this program?
If there are, is he at liberty to say who?
Of course, we do not divulge any of our clients' information. I will say for politicians, the most important thing is being able to have a independent source of funds from business. Now, a lot of politicians are also businessmen. They would, of course, be able to qualify. In terms of celebrities, stay tuned. You've already seen a few celebrities posting about this.
Where are you off to now? I mean, which country are you off to now?
Right
in
now,
the next few days.
yeah, right now I'm going to Malaysia. We have an office visit with our office there, as well as a presentation to a large group of entrepreneurs there. And then I'll be going to our office in Singapore, where I have quite a large team as well. So I do spend a fair amount of time in the Philippines, but my home base is in Singapore.
Okay.
So, in terms of age, is there a country within your jurisdiction which hasn't been tapped yet, which you would like to tap in terms of investors, potential investors?
Definitely, when we look at more of the developing world, there's always opportunity
Vietnam, for
there.
instance.
Vietnam is huge potential. A challenge that we face there is that they have strict capital controls. You cannot take a lot of money out of Vietnam. Philippines, luckily, does not have this issue, so people can still remit the required investment from their local Philippine bank account.
Okay, so Scott, it's been a very interesting discussion with you, and we've learned a lot. And hopefully we can invite you again for more
Yeah.
discussion, especially in that area of sovereign wealth fund. And so we will give you the floor now for your parting shots to our viewers and readers.
Yes.
Excellent.
Would you want to say anything to potential investors or?
Well, I'd like to thank you two gentlemen for the opportunity to be here. It's been a invigorating conversation.
Yeah, it's a
Very
pleasure.
enlightening as well.
Always fun. And of course, for anybody that is considering a residence or citizenship by investment program, we have a large team both domestically as well as in Singapore, and we have an office in any jurisdiction that you would consider. So we are the right partners to assist you with your residence or citizenship by investment queries.
Do you have any favorite destination, by the way? As a last, is there any particular area or particular country in your list, in the Henley and Partners list that you have a soft spot for, you're keen
Well,
on?
I don't want to sound biased, Teddy,
Okay.
but I am Canadian.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I gotta
Okay.
toot the horn for Canada a bit. Okay. But I will say that Canada is a bit difficult because you need to spend 3 out of 5 years to obtain the passport.
Okay.
So in terms of which a program is the most cost effective and takes the least amount of time in terms of naturalization, Portugal is a very strong offering, and it is by far the most popular program in the Philippines.
Okay,
So,
great.
again, thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Scott
you.
Moore and
Thank you very
Teddy.
much. Okay.
And mga katribu, watch fresh episodes of Kalingang Katribu Usapang Business every Monday live at Daily Tribune's official Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube. Once again, I am Komfie Manalo,
I'm Terry Montelibano.
and this has been Usapang Business.
Okay.